Hey guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to review The Butler, a 2013 American historical drama film directed by Lee Daniels and written by Danny Strong. It is inspired by the true story of Eugene Allen, who served as a butler in the White House for more than 3 decades to 8 different presidents. The movie begins by showing a nicely dressed old man sitting outside an office in the White House waiting for someone. While he's sitting there, he starts reminiscing about his past. The scene shifts to 1926, showing a 7-year-old boy, Cecil Gaines, working on a cotton plantation in Georgia with his African-American family. Despite the ongoing African-American conflicts around the country, Cecil is seen to be enjoying his life living there in a small warehouse on the plantation. One day while working, the son of the warehouse owner comes to the field and takes Cecil's mother with him inside the warehouse. But Earl, his father, stops him and says this world belongs to the white people, and we black people have no right to fight. His father just stands there and stares towards the warehouse while listening to his wife screaming. After a while, the owner's son comes out of the barn. Earl confronts him and looks at him with anger. Earl's audacity just makes the owner's son angry, and he shoots him in cold blood. Hearing the loud noise of the gunshot, the owner comes to the scene. Observing what just happened there, she orders all the other workers to bury Earl's body and takes Cecil with her out of pity. After taking Cecil to her home, she decides to make Cecil a servant of the house. She starts training him as a servant boy the very next day. She teaches him that a servant should always serve on the table from the right and should never make the slightest noise while serving the food. The scene shifts to several years after, where Cecil is now a grown-up. He has quite an experience in being a home servant. After turning 18, Cecil decides to leave the cotton plantation and move to someplace else where he can make a future for himself. He bids farewell to his mother and the owner of the plantation and leaves the place. On his journey, Cecil comes to know that the outer world is a horrible place for people of his ethnicity. Racism is at its peak. Black people are treated poorly everywhere. White people even believe that they have the right to kill black people, and there is no law that could stop them. In fact, the law allows white people to punish and hurt black people. When Cecil reaches the city, he is too hungry, so he breaks into a bakery and eats whatever he can find there. Hearing the glass break, the shop owner comes looking. Afraid of what might happen next, Cecil starts telling the owner how good he is at serving white people, and he could be of good use to the shop owner, who is also a butler. Instead of punishing Cecil, the butler bandages his hand and agrees to let him work for him as a waiter. Cecil knows that his manners, attitude, and behavior are all important for him to survive in this world of white people. Therefore, he gives all his time and effort to developing his serving techniques. Years pass by, and then comes one day when the butler gets a job offer to be a waiter in a 5-star luxury hotel in Washington, D.C. However, the butler tells Cecil that he is too old to work now and wants Cecil to take the job. While they sit and talk, he tells Cecil that every butler has 2 faces. One is his true face, and the other one which he shows to the white people when serving them. He says that no matter how luxurious or difficult a butler's life becomes, he must never forget his true face. So, in the year of 1957, Cecil starts working in the luxurious 5-star hotel in Washington. One day, while working on a shift, he meets a woman named Gloria. She is also a servant in the same hotel. Cecil and Gloria fall in love and get married. In the next scene, we see that they have started their own family and now are parents of 2 children, Charlie and Louis. One day, when Cecil is at home, he receives a call from his boss. Cecil and Gloria become worried if their jobs are in danger, given that the boss is calling them directly. However, it was good news. Cecil was invited to work in the White House. Now the scene shifts to inside the White House, where Cecil is sitting on a chair outside an office in the White House. Cecil meets with Freddie Fallow, a butler at the White House, who is supposed to hire Cecil. Freddie tells Cecil that he has heard so much about him and his serving capabilities from the guests of the hotel Cecil is currently working for. Freddie tells him that despite Cecil's good reputation, he does not believe in the professionalism that is required to serve top officers. In his response, Cecil points out the liquor bottle present on the table and eloquently explains his expertise in liquor and its serving. Listening to this, Freddie gets quite impressed with Cecil and hires him as a butler for the White House. On the first day of his duty, Freddie teaches him all the rules and ethics for working there. Cecil was told not to see or hear anything while working there. He was told that his focus should only and only be on serving the top officers. For the first time, Cecil makes tea for the president's room. When he serves tea to the president, he can't help but to overhear the conversation where they are talking about sending federal forces for the protection of black people. After some days, Cecil and the president talk about the same issue, and Cecil manages to convince him to send the federal force to the city of Kansas. Now Lewis has graduated high school. When he goes to his new university, he meets a girl named Carol Hammy, who introduces him to a group of activists that occasionally gather to discuss plans to protest against white people. After some days, they carry out their first demo in a cafe. The group of activists enter the cafe and sit on a white bench. It was considered an insult to the white people at that time. The waiter orders them to move from the white seat, but they refuse. Seeing this, the white customers there start humiliating them. The group of activists get arrested for a month. When they get released from prison, they are seen coming back home on a bus. Out of nowhere, they get attacked by a group of racist organization. Luckily, they survive the attack. These incidents do not stop the activists. Their numbers keep increasing, and they keep protesting in the streets, even though the government, the police, and the white citizens are seen beating and thrashing them in the open. These protest demonstrations kept on going for days. One day, Cecil enters President Kennedy's office and sees that he looks exhausted from the ongoing demonstrations. The president tells Cecil that he knows his son is among the activists, and he is currently in prison with the leader of the activists, Martin Luther King. Hearing this, Cecil apologizes and tells the president that he himself has not seen his son in months. When Cecil is leaving the room, the president stops him and tells him that the protesters are actually heroes who changed not only his, but the hearts of many people for the black community. A quick reminder before we continue our review of this classic movie, if you enjoyed this video so far, consider subscribing as we frequently upload such informative and entertaining videos. Let's continue. The next day, for the first time in the history of America, the president announced on national television that he would defend the rights of black people. Before he could carry out the revolution, President Kennedy was assassinated. This broke the heart of the black community, including Cecil and all the butlers working in the White House. Now the president of the USA is Lyndon Johnson. President Johnson is seen to be quite different from President Kennedy. Instead of going with the racism revolution, he disperses the demonstrators brutally and orders police to gunfire everywhere. In the next scene, Cecil ventures into the office of the Chief of Staff in the White House. Cecil demands that he wants to be paid the same salary as the white workers. The Chief of Staff not only rejects his requests, but also threatens to fire him. Disappointed by the response, Cecil leaves the room. Next, we see Cecil watching the TV that is showing riots taking place everywhere. Right then, the TV screen shows Lewis telling the reporters that he will be a candidate in elections for a political seat. The president approves Cecil's request to pay equal salaries to black and white workers. After this achievement, Cecil is invited to a royal dinner. During the dinner, Cecil realizes that he is still being treated as a minority. He also realizes that his son Lewis is fighting the right battle, and he himself is ready to do his part in bringing this revolution of equality. After that, Cecil resigns from his position as a butler in the White House. The next day, Lewis is leading a protest for the release of Nelson Mandela. He sees his father standing some distance away from the crowd. Cecil has come there to join the protest and support his son. Lewis approaches his father and hugs him. Right after that, they both are arrested by the police along with the other activists. The movie shifts to a scene in 2008 where Cecil and his wife Gloria are old. Gloria is happy knowing the fact that a black person is standing for the presidential seat in the upcoming elections. Inside the house, Gloria is sitting at a table and waiting for Cecil to go to the church with her. When Cecil comes to sit with her, she passes away. After her funeral, the news screen shows that Obama has become the new president of the United States of America. In the next scene, Cecil is seen to be getting ready. He wears the award tie pin given to him by President Nixon and the tie given to him by President Kennedy. The movie returns to the very first scene where old Cecil is sitting in the White House outside an office. The man Cecil is waiting for is the new president of America. Cecil is greeted by a young butler who offers to show him the way to the president's office, but Cecil stops and proudly replies, "I know the way." With that, the movie ends. If you're looking for a good movie to watch, we recommend The Butler. It's a great film that tells an important story. You should definitely check it out. If you enjoyed watching this review, like this video and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep making such amazing movie reviews for you. Thanks for watching, and until next time.